It's a level of success where it's a door. When you platinum and you getting 50,000 a show, I've been there. There's a door that you could walk in. I'm not sure if it's homo or if it's illuminati. I just didn't take that though. I went straight.
What do you mean?
Listen, when you get to a level of success, when you getting 30, 40, 50,000 a show, you platinum, you running across the world. There's 3 different doors, right? There's 3 different ways to walk. There's to the left, there's to the right, and then there's straight. Straight is you're on your own. Let's see if you continue this success, young man. Let's see if it's all about your skills, young man. Let's really see that. And you went straight. To the right, I'm not sure if that's the home shit right there. And then there's to the left, I'm not sure if there's some sacrifice going on right there. I'm not sure because I went straight. But I was offered these doors.
This is your offer?
I don't, no. I'm saying that to the right when I seen it, those was those guys over there. I just chose to go straight, and I haven't been platinum since.
I think I made it to the first level and stopped. I made it about that close and stopped. Because again, I ain't gonna say certain things, but you see it. You see what it's for. You know what I mean? How people say there's the 3 doors. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, no, but that was Noriega. Noriega said he got to a level and he was told there are 3 doors to go through.
Wow.
And when he refused he said, "No, I'm going to go on my own." He never had another hit record.
Yep.
He was never allowed to do shows, and he's honestly said on camera. So. And I think it's one thing for people to talk about conspiracy stuff, but it's, as I said, very few people who are honest about staying their ground, not giving up, not selling out, and hitting a plateau.
There's no conspiracy with this, bro. I'm gonna tell you from my mouth. Ain't no conspiracy, man.
For those who have no idea what you're talking about here, these levels. What are these levels? Can we any what are these levels we're talking about?
I gotta block my face because I'm not gonna go into. I ain't gonna go into it deeply, but again, I've been that close. That's all.
Are we talking something on the lines of like what P Diddy's going through at the moment? Them kind of levels.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. If I had to say it, then that would be the perfect example. Mm-hmm. But there's another element to it. Right? There's a street element to it, which I believe I may have been geared up to go through that level. And that becomes the street element, the enforcing element, the murder gang element, to deal with certain people.
I love hip hop.
Right, to deal with certain people in the game. Because, again, they look for young kids, young men, young teenagers that's from the hood. That experience certain parts of life, you know what I mean, when it comes to violence and so forth. So you can get through one of them doors being that level.
Wow.
To be honest with you, you can get through one of them doors being that level to be the person that take care of business. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm gonna say on that. But there's no conspiracy to this, bro. I can promise you that, because I've had my experiences. And when you gifted as a musician, when you gifted like this, you see everything. You see everything that's around you. If you're not a person that's using drugs or alcohol or whatever consumptions, or you know what I mean, things that would block your vision, your third eye, you'll see everything. And I just wasn't that person. So I was able to see who was doing what, who was manipulating, who was this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? So when in my situation, I would do a little music here and there, but I always seen that there was this block.
But again, so many, you can only do so much in this business. The industry will only allow you and allow so many different artists to get through. Everybody can't be on top. You know that song Prince had called Pop Life, where everybody can't be on top? Really listen to those lyrics in that song, and that's basically what the music business is about. Wow. That's why he wrote about that. You could be as talented as you want. You could have all the talent you want in the world. But if the powers that be say, hey, you don't fit our agenda, you don't fit what it is that we need for this to work, and for you to be famous, it's not going to work. They'll put a boundary or limit on you. And see, I knew this. I knew all this even before I started, which is why it was so easy for me to step out, because I already knew what time it was. Just by the way, they responded to me, I already knew.
See,
so it
when
was easy
Prince
for
was
me.
saying a lot of this stuff, we were like, "What's he doing? Make music." We couldn't really understand when he's putting slave and he's talking about artists need, and we were like, "What's he talking about? That it's a game. We're not going to win if we don't come together." And I was like, what? Most people are like, "What are you talking about, man? You're
Dude,
Prince."
It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
There's so much to this game that you just have no idea what's going on. One day we can sit and just talk, and I can tell you, but
I know.
it's like,
like, yo, why y'all not let me get this or get that? Because at one point in my career, around 2001, I had a demo with Michael Jackson. Literally. A demo that was done with Michael Jackson. And I remember going to a Sony meeting. Me and my friend, we laugh about this all the time. I went to a Sony meeting one time, and I was called, my manager had called me. He's like, "Man, we need you to come up. Tommy McTown want to meet with you." I was like, "Oh, for real?" You know what I mean? And this was right after the demo that was done for Michael Jackson. I get to the Sony building, and I don't know if you guys know, but when you get to one level at the Sony building, you have to go around to get into a separate elevator. So you are met on one level of the Sony building where you got to have appointments and blah, blah, blah. You cannot get above that level without, being able to go around this corner to get into this other elevator. So I remember when I walked up to the counter, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here to meet," I ain't gonna say name, but I'm here to meet so-and-so. You know what I'm saying? And it took forever for them to, let me get around the other side of the building. So finally I get around the other side of the building. I meet that particular person at the elevator. I get up, we greet, kiss each other, blah, blah, blah. I'm going off. She's like, "Okay, the meeting will start in a minute. We'll come and get you or whatever." And again, like I said, me and my friend talk about this all the time. I'm in the office. There's cameras in the office. But back then, we had no cell phones to entertain our minds. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have cell phones to entertain our mind. And I'm literally sitting there, and I have a briefcase between my legs, and I'm constantly peeping over here looking at this camera. And I said, "Man, they watching me. They watching me." And I sat there for 30 minutes, almost 45 minutes. And I kept looking at the camera. I said, "Yo, they watching me. They watching my demeanor. They watching everything I do while I'm sitting here." So finally she comes in. She's like, "All right, the meeting been canceled." Looking at her, I'm like, "What? Y'all made me come all the way up to New York for a meeting. Now you're canceling meeting with Tommy McTown?" I go back to my manager's office. By the time I get there, he says, "Yeah, I know." I said, I don't want to say names, but I said, "Man, what's going on, bruh?" He's like, "Man, just don't worry about it. Just go back to DC and we'll let you know." I did not get to the next level of the song that I did for Michael Jackson after that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I did not get to the next level to get that Michael Jackson song released. It's like, I got so many ill stories, bro, that happened during my walk in this thing, man. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, man. But I did not get past my demo stage of the song I did with Michael Jackson. I still got a copy of it right today, with his vocals on it and everything.
Gosh, you were so close as well. How close?
Exactly.
You were so close, my jeez.
But the thing is, why be that close where you get ready to sell your soul to something? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's the thing is they'll give you the bait to see if you're desperate, and then if you're that close, you're like, "Yeah, I can taste it. I want to go back and whatever you want me to do, because I know that I know what it's like."
Exactly.
And
but by that time they got whatever they got out of me. They I wasn't needed anymore after that point.
Wow.
They made their money and it's time to move on to the next victim. That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's what the music business is. Once you find out exactly how it's run, they don't want you no more.
Yeah.
That is the epitome of what the music business is about.
Yeah, I mean, speaking to Shanice, she said one of the things that hampered her career was because her mum and the family knew a lot about the business. They started to say, "Well, we're not going to make much." Yeah,
Shanice is a sweetheart. She is. That's one of my favorite people. And we don't really hang out and talk a lot, but when we do, because we have history. Me and Shanice, even back, I was trying to, work on it. I wanted to send her some songs, and at the time when she was with A&M Records, when Brian Loren was doing her, her first album, which was a monster album.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that first record was a monster. That record should have blew out the roof. But again, you can only do so much in this business. The industry will only allow you and allow so many different artists to get through. Everybody can't be on top. That song Prince had called Pop Life, where everybody can't be on top? Really listen to those lyrics of that song. And that's basically what the music business is about.
Wow.
That's why he wrote about that. You could be as talented as you want. You could have all the talent you want in the world. But if the powers that be say, hey, you don't fit our agenda, you don't fit what it is that we need for this to work, and for you to be famous, it's not going to work. They'll put a boundary, a limit on you. And see, I knew this. I knew all this even before I started, which is why it was so easy for me to step out, because I already knew what time it was. Just by the way, they responded to me, I already knew.
The ones that got in, we think it's just all about music all the time, and it's not. Then you got to think about the ones that got in.
A lot of people don't realize this. Let me say this. Early 80s, even going back to the 70s, early 80s, 90s, so forth, gay wasn't in. Gay was in the closet. You feel me? And gay has always existed in the music business. It always existed, right? But back then you had to be a part of the club, and you were tested off of your loyalty and will to keep secrets within the industry, right? So you got top execs, top A&Rs, you got all of these VPs. A lot of them was gay. You know what I mean? All of them was gay. Even artists, they were gay. You know what I mean? But in order for you to be invited in, you were tested to keep the secrets. If you kept the secrets, then you will flourish. It wasn't about how talented you was or how much music you made and yada, yada, yada. That was just the front of it all. But if you kept secrets and you were able to trade yourself within the club, you were good. You were good. If a particular artist called for this particular person, you got traded in. You got moved in. And the more you stayed in the conglomerate of the club, the more you became successful and financially well. That's what it was. But today it's different. You see what I'm saying? Because it's all out. People are open, gaily, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But back then, that was taboo. That was a secret. Nobody could know that this particular person was gay or that person was gay or you know what I mean? But when you came in the club, you were tested, and you was tested based off of your loyalty of keeping secrets within. If you did that, you will move to different levels. It's that simple.
You see, this is why you hear about big shocks in the 80s or the 90s where some of the biggest stars, it's like you find out that they're gay. And you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that, But as you said, it all makes sense from what you're saying, them stories you were just telling there. They were probably let in to that side of the industry, them levels, because of what they were really and what they've had to go through. It makes complete sense.
Exactly. I'm about to get security after this interview, man.
Yeah. I mean, in 2002, I was working as a marketing intern at Edmonds Entertainment. And at the time, we had a guy called Jeff Burrows, who was the general manager.
I know
He's the
Jeff.
one. Yeah, so Jeff was. Yeah, we were working on Third Story. We're working on John B's third album, and I can't remember who else was on the label, but he was also setting up his own label to release A. Marie. So you come into work and he's supposed to be putting out Third Story, but he's blasting A. Marie in his office and stuff like that. But but Tracy and no one could do anything to him. But I remember that the group were about to go on tour, Third Story, and we had Rodney Jerkins just did a production. Nokia was A&R for Def Soul.
You said Rodney,
and
right?
Yeah, Rodney had done their first single of Third Story, and Nokia from Drew Hill was A&R on behalf of the guy I was working for, who was the head of promotions, he was like, okay, the single's about to come out. We're going to go on tour. And when we go on tour, we're going to be in with the group, we're in with the band. We'll get any of the girls and all the groupies and all that stuff. And so this was him telling me, a couple of months when we go on tour, this is going to be the life. And I knew in my spirit that what they were doing is like, okay, if we're going to make this permanent, we need to know we can trust you. And so it was going to be obvious that you go out to these parties and stuff, and we need to get something on you so that you can't say anything on us. And that was the moment in which I walked away, not voluntarily, but this is God that pulled me out of this place. Because I remember all the stuff we're hearing about Diddy now. Back in 2001, I knew that it was no secret, back in 2001, 2002, when I was there, everyone knew about it. So, and other executives that I can't name because nothing's come out, so I can't just put their name out there, or artists. But all this stuff was known.
But they call it allegedly, right?
Yeah, everything was allegedly. But they don't. They tell you to see how you react and know. Okay, can we trust? Can we slowly trust you? I remember going to parties and seeing Faith and Diddy and all these people while I was still at Edmonds. It was almost like, we're just going to show you a little bit of what we can offer you. And I'm not talking about Tracy or anything like that, but it was pretty much if you're going in. So, hearing what you're saying is like, yeah, I can imagine if you don't have that sort of shield around you, it's easy to see a little bit and think, okay, whatever I have to do to get in, I'm going to go all the way. Yeah. I'm going to go all the way. And Tony Terry... Yeah, go ahead.
That was one of the things I did. Even when I would go to New York, I would literally go in and leave. Like, I always was invited to, video shoots and parties and yada, yada, yada. I would literally go into New York, go in the studio, and like, for instance, like Electric Light, that's recording there all the time. I would go in, see everything, been tested. Like, I'm not going to say this particular person's name, but I was tested before on in this particular situation I'm talking about. And then I was asked to go to a video shoot. And I'm going to say Lost Boys, right? Lex Cooper, Beams and Ben, Lost Boys. I did two remixes for Lost Boys. I did Lifestyles of Richard Shane and Lex Cooper, Beams and the Beans. So I was asked to go video shoot with a whoop. In my spirit, knowing the stuff that I was constantly saying, I will always turn it down. I will always go back to my hotel room and just chill. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to say that. But I get what you're saying. Like, I literally, I would never go to no parties, no video shoots, or none of that. You know what I mean? I would literally just go right back to my room after working.
Yeah.
Head back to DC.
Yeah.
Because that's home for me. Anything that I got involved with was back home. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't trust nobody that was around me at that time. Even managers, lawyers, soulful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Tony Terry, when I interviewed him during the pandemic, and he he didn't finish the interview because I think he realized, I've said too much. But he talked about because I think he realized because he just stopped the interview, said, "Okay, let's just take a break. We'll come back," and he never came back and stuff. But he said that he got invited to he said a big party in Beverly Hills, and he went into the place and he said he was the only one there.
I got invited to a dinner party by who shall remain nameless.
Yeah, it's fine.
An industry executive in the Palisades.
Yeah.
And I was excited because I was told that, it was going to be a party with a whole bunch of industry people. When I got there was nobody there except the gentleman. And I was like, well, where's everybody? Where is everybody? I came for a dinner party. And it just was weird. And while I was there, a celebrity that I knew who she was called him, and he had her on speakerphone while he was in the room with me. But then he took her off speakerphone and went into another room. But then he put her back on speakerphone, and I heard her say on speakerphone, "You're going to make him a star, aren't you?" And he said, "Well, we'll see what happens." I was like, "Oh, hell, I got to get out of here." And I was like, I forgot that I was supposed to be at another spot. I didn't know if I was saying whatever I was saying was making sense to him or not, but I didn't care. I got the ass up out of here.
Yeah.
And so I left. I mean, but he was saying things like, if you need money, just ask me. Just give me a call. You need $1,000, $5,000. Just give me a call. I got you. I was like, oh, well, thank you. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You don't even know me. So I was too naive to even to understand what was going on. But the thing that says go told me to go.
I mean, when you grow up a certain way, like when you grow up poor, when you grow up in the hood, you grow up in the ghetto, right? And you never seen $40,000 in your life, that is everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is everything. You like, oh, I'm good. I'm rich. I can go buy this. I can buy jewelry. I can buy a car. Whoa, whoa. You know what I mean? So that's the bait of the whole industry, is to get young kids out of the ghetto. Kids that are extremely talented, you know what I mean, that got a God-given gift, is to get them from the ghetto. You know what I mean? Because they never seen $10,000. They never seen $40,000. You know what I mean? And you end up in a contract where they are literally collecting millions,
all of it,
off of what you created. That's the plot. That's the point of it all. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But again, I was one of them guys that I just wasn't going for a contract. You know what I mean? I come from the street era, so you know what I mean? I wasn't going to sell out. I wasn't going to be a puppet to none of it. You know what I mean? I did what I did as far as music go because that's a gift. That's what I love doing. I was born with that. So I just wasn't going to sell out to the whole system as to, confide and do what they wanted me to do. Because I always had that opinion, like, well, what? Why? You know what I mean? I always had that why type of attitude with it. So when you'll reach a certain level in this industry. Believe that. You will reach a certain level and then you will stop. Plateau at a certain level. And the ones that have made it to the top of certain levels, oh yeah, they sold themselves out to it. It's that.
Yeah, I mean, Chuckii Booker has said it. I mean, he said on record, so I'm not. When I interviewed him, he says there's a level you get to, and if you want to go past that, there's something that you have to give up something. Did you? And I don't know how it's for producers and writers when the album is being made. Is there a voice when it comes to picking singles that are released? Does the producer just have any say, or is it pretty much okay? We're gonna go with R. Kelly because he was the hit maker back then, so we just released all his stuff.
So, like for instance, when you talk about that particular record, I was the B-side of the single of that record with R. Kelly. You know what I mean? And I only want to go into this, but I'm going through a fight right now where R. Kelly has taken some credit for a record I done, which he had no part of, literally. So I was the B-side of that particular single. So it's politics. It's the music business. You know what I mean? It's that simple. It's the music business as to how they want to critique or flip, or how they going to get money, or how they going to steal money, so forth and so on. So it's all politics when it comes to that. So I ended up on like I said, I ended up on the B-side of that particular single. I had no say on that, or no one has really no say. It's about who was that hit maker, just like you said. R. Kelly had a string of hits with them. He get first choice as to who's what single's gonna happen. You know what I mean? This was my first time ever working with him. So I'm kind of happy I ended up on the B-side of the single cassette. You know what I'm saying? Out of all the producers that was on that record, I'm like, okay, cool. I got the B-side. You know what I mean? And again, politics. We had Tracy Lee on that particular single that I did. You see what I'm saying? So that's politics because he's a particular rapper, a known rapper in that particular time. One of my
but even with the show, the Diddy stuff, people in the industry aren't really saying anything. You know, it's about people that on the peripheral that are coming up with all these things, but people in the know are keeping quiet because they can easily get implicated with stuff. So they're all keeping quiet. They're not saying anything. They just, no one's saying anything. It's, it's on the news, but these are people that are not invested in it. So because, as you said, if you the tapes, they as I said, each they're filming you just walking in an office. So that they know they've got what they've got on
they
people.
don't want it in one of them videos, Nnamdi. That's why they ain't saying nothing. Everybody that's quiet is on one of them videos, and it's something on somebody. You was there, you saw something, whatever. I never got invited to a Puffy party, and I worked with them, and I was at,
You want me to say what just happened to me with the whole Warner?
With the what? Warner, that's right.
Warner,
yeah, tell them what happened with Warner. I
don't have anything to do with Puff, right? No, I don't have anything to do with Puff at all. But the Soulful Real remix, which I done 30 years ago, I get a little bit of royalty here and there for performance rights from BMI, right? Set it and forget it. That's 30 years ago. You know what I mean? And I might see a few residuals here and there. About 2 months ago, out of nowhere, Kevin Liles resigned. Who's the other guy, the Chinese dude that resigned at Sony? It was somebody else, a couple of people, VPs that resigned.
It was like 3 of them that resigned.
Exactly. And all of them affiliated with Warner Chappell. About 2 months ago, bro, I get an email from BMI stating that BMI research department is doing an investigation to see who was the particular writer on the Soulful Real remix, and they are saying you do not own the rights to the music that was produced. And this was literally like the next day. And I called my home and I said, bro, they scrubbing database now. Out of nowhere, as soon as Kevin Liles left, as soon as all the VPs left, the Warner Child was literally trying to cover their ass and started scrubbing all database and writers of the music. Literally. And I got all my receipts. You know what I'm saying? I ended up having to write a complete letter to BMI. I literally had faxes because back then we used to, do contracts on fax. And of course, the ink is faded off of these fax papers. Man, I literally went through my briefcase, put that thing on the scanner, put it in Photoshop, found a way to get all of the letters, the wording to come up, and I had copies of all my contracts related to that particular situation. Sent that over to BMI and sent that over to Warner Chappell. You know what I'm saying? So soon as the whole Puffy thing came out, soon as the VPs rolled out, I said, man, they literally scrubbing the database. Literally. It was like 2 days in increments, man. I said they literally scrubbing the database, and I haven't heard anything else about my royalties when it comes to BMI and the So For Real project. Haven't heard nothing back.
Is there, and
I think they definitely didn't expect me to have written receipts because it was 30 years ago. But I'm the dude that keeps everything. You know what I'm saying? I keeps everything. I don't think they expected me to have those contracts. And the itinerary. Like I had the itinerary, I had the date of recording, which was August the first 94 or something like that. I had all my receipts, man. And when I sent that back off, I haven't heard a word from him since. Jaccqi said, "What you say, Jaccqi? You got to get your."
No, Stevie. It was Stevie that was saying something.
It's pretty deep. It's to do with Warner Brothers. It's to do with Prince. It's to do with P Diddy and Jay-Z. That P Diddy, I think, is it Lyle signed up P Diddy? He was signed up to Warner Brothers, and then you've got P Diddy and Jay-Z through Tidal, and because they've got all these connections to Warner Brothers, they went after Prince's catalog. And there's this conspiracy about, because, is P. Diddy some way responsible for Prince's death because they didn't get on or something, or Prince didn't want to go to any of his parties, and they tried to get hold of his back catalogue, and suddenly Prince dies. I don't know if it's all linked or not.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. Yeah, I wouldn't have no.
Very deep.
Yeah. I haven't heard about that. You know what I mean? But there's the giants, right? There's the parent companies and just the smaller labels. But Warner Chappell, Sony, Universal Music Group. Those are the three. Those are the three that controls this entire thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about, when Michael owned the whole Beatles catalog and owned half of Sony Publishing, refused to sell, and then he dies, and then everything is sold back. Yeah. It's as obvious, as open as it is, but there's no proof, of course. Right. But this industry, did he, yeah, they can like what they try. I mean, on a small scale, look what they did to you on a small track. Can you imagine what, whatever it's Prince or whatever it is? They're talking about this is billions that they're investing. 50 years down the road, music doesn't die. So that this is this big thing. But those of us on the outside now, those on the inside know what's happening.
Yeah,
and
I tell everybody, man, the real show is behind the curtain. Period. The regular people, normal people that are consumers, that consume this stuff, consume music and everything that we create, people don't realize the real show is behind the curtains. For real. And that's where all the plays are played. You know what I mean? That's where all the conniving and everything is done behind the curtain. But what's put in front of you is just the show. The artist, like Jacqi, they put that in front of you. But the real show is behind the curtain. If you want to know the truth, look behind the curtain. That's where all the fighting is going on.
I always remember, because I used to be, I used to love in the 90s. It was not just the R&B stuff; it was the pop rock. And I used to remember, these females will start off, whether it's Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, or whatever, they come out, clean cut, nice song. Then a second album, all of a sudden, they're dressing, the skirts are, smaller skirts, and all of a sudden they're transforming into like, wait a minute, but this is not how you started. They morphed. I'm like, look what they've done to these women. So it was so obvious. But if you're not watching with a different eye, you wouldn't really pay attention. Just look at how they're changing. Look at the men. Look what the lyrics are changing. What they're singing. They start off singing about "I love you" and "we can raise a family." Then it's okay. Let's sex up, and it just. But then But if you don't watch from a different eyesight, you wouldn't see what's happening. And that's when they're saying, "Look, you want to go to the next level. This is what you need to do," and you're just chasing that fame.
Let me say this.
You're chasing after. Yeah.
There's always an agenda outside of the music. Remember this. There's always an agenda. There's always a 10-year switch, so to speak. Even if you look at politics, you look at government, you look at any of that, right? Stars, musicians, athletes, I don't care what it is, anything related to entertainment is about the influence. You must constantly influence the sheep for their agenda to go. So let's go back to early 90s. You got gangster rap, you got killing this, drug this, blah, blah, blah. I didn't realize that I was a part of that agenda because most of the gangster music that I was writing, because I was doing rap music too. You know what I mean? So every song that was geared towards imprisonating or financing the prison complex, their contracts with the prison complex, every song that I made to influence another young black man to go out there and kill each other or sell drugs, or to even like the love songs, all of the sex and this, sex and that. You know what I mean? But none of those songs said nothing about wearing a rubber. You see? All those songs was for you to have unprotected sex because of the AIDS epidemic. There's an agenda outside of the music. Most artists are used to be the influence of the masses of sheep, of the people. Period. That's it. And we get paid millions of dollars to do it. Just like I said, when it comes to sports, you know how many men go crazy over the game, over this happening game, this game. Most men spend majority of their time thinking about sports instead of elevating their mind. That's a preoccupied situation. Sports is basically to preoccupy your mind from being free and thinking, to be a free thinker. Because an idle mind is a dangerous mind. You know what I mean? If my mind is idle, that means I'm going to start thinking. You understand what I'm saying? So the agenda of entertainment is in place for this to be, for us to not see. A lot of people don't realize this, man. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I know I'm saying too much, but I'm going to get.
I remember being on the road later in the 90s and early 2000s with R. Kelly. And they were in public announcement.
Okay. And
we worked together a lot. And they would always ask me to hang out. R. Kelly would ask me to hang out every time I saw him. And I never did. Not once. And I don't know why I was kept away, because clearly there was something going on, as we later discovered, that came out in the wash. And I came from a very spiritual and praying family. Yeah. And I've always felt like I've had a covering, a shield of protection around me that was there even when I was too foolish or too ignorant to realize that I was in a situation that I shouldn't have been in. I was always protected. Well, I guess whatever the other person's or people's intentions were for me didn't happen, because I'm a child of God and he wouldn't know that it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know what it is about the music industry that it attracts the worst in people.
It attracts evil. There's an underbelly in the music business, that people don't talk about. There's a dark side to the music business that people simply do not talk about. And, recently there was a young lady who came out talking about she was exposing people and exposing details about the music business, Miss Jaguar Wright. I don't know Jaguar Wright. And I don't know that I've ever run into her. And I didn't realize that she was one of the original members of The Roots, I think. And she was exposing everybody, which I didn't know if what she was saying about the people that she was talking about was true or not. But then she started talking about things that happened in the music business and that she was aware of. And I knew those things to be true. Like, I knew firsthand that those things were true. And so to me, that kind of gave some validity to the other things that she might have been talking about.
Yeah.
But I had been approached by people and invited to parties that I went to, but because of my covering, I didn't get pulled in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I was at the door of the dark side.
Yeah.
But I never crossed the threshold.
Yeah.
And I have to believe that I had guardian angels protecting me. I really do believe it. I do. To this day, I believe it, and I believe that I was preserved. You know, a lot of people that I saw trying to get there, trying to break through, especially the girls. They get used up.
Yeah.
And then they will get us. They might even get all the way to the point where they think it's just about to happen, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then it's over forever. And then that person is ruined. And then the music business spits them out.
Yeah.
And then go and finds the next one that they're that will service the room, if you will.
Yeah.
And you know, if that girl doesn't do it, then she's out in the next girl, because there's always somebody who's willing to do anything to get it.
To get in.
And you know, and when I say anything, I mean anything.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because, you know, because I wasn't advised, I wasn't given information. When people ask me, what kind of advice would you give to an up and coming artist? I would say, if you're female, don't do it. Be a songwriter, be a publisher, because that's really where the money is. And not only that, you know, girls have it especially tough. And if you're a guy, well, sometimes even guys fall into the trap.
Yeah.
But the best thing I could tell you to do is to understand that you're entering a show business.
Yeah.
And you have to have some kind of business acumen, or if not you, somebody who's with you who does, that will protect you. Because if you don't have the information, it would not be in, you know, someone else's favor to educate you.
Yeah.
If my intention is to, if my intention is to run game on you, and you come to me and you don't, well, not me, I'm just.
Yeah. How do you, as a new producer in the industry, without any, if you don't have a godfather, how do you protect your business if they want to give you the golden goose and give you a chance?
Back in the day, used to call that paying dues. Right. Back in the day, they used to call that paying dues. And believe you me, man, I paid a lot of dues. You know what I mean? But at the same time, while I'm paying these dues, I'm looking at the dues I'm paying. It's that simple. It's like, again, like I said earlier, it's either you selling your soul to it or you fighting against it. You know what I mean? So for me, it was the love of music as a child, because I've been doing music since I was 6 years old. You know what I mean? Literally just banging on pots and pans and all of that kind of stuff. And then I grew up in a city where it's nothing but music, the whole go-go thing. So I had a love for it. You come in this thing with a complete innocence and complete love for it. You know what I mean? Until you see that first dollar amount. You know what I mean? As you see that dollar amount, you're like, okay, I can actually make a living doing this. You know what I mean? Because again, I come from the streets, I come from the hood, the ghettos, and so forth. You know what I mean? So it's hard. You know what I mean? It's hard to protect your interests in this thing because everybody is there to take. You know what I mean? So the more deeper you're in it, you see how people is geared up, how the contracts are set up, how this is set up, how that is set up, and it's all to exploit you at the end of the day. They'll throw you a few trinkets. You get a few trinkets here and there to make you believe that, you know what I mean, you're successful in it. But in the background, there's some treacherous stuff going on. It's treacherous. It's vicious. And by the time you get a hold of it, all of it's gone. And it took everything from you. You know what I mean? So politics, whatever you want to call it, you know, credits this and popularity and yada, yada, yada. It's all geared towards who had publishing deals. Because at that time, I was with Sony. I had a publishing deal with Sony. So it's all about who has publishing deals and who need to fulfill these publishing deals. Who need to write, you know what I mean? Because that used to be the battle with me when it comes to writing. Because I got a team that writes. But if you go in there with an artist, but they got a publishing deal, so they're gonna shoot your song down so they can fulfill their obligations with their publishing deal. You see what I'm saying? It would be a lot of stuff like that going on in the studio. You know what I mean? And you would just constantly fight. And I found myself just constantly fighting for my team, for my writers, you know what I mean, to be successful in what we were doing. But you were going to the studio and well, we don't like that, or you know, we need to write this and blah 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 because they got obligations with publishing companies.
Typical record deal is structured something like this. The record label gives in advance, say $250,000 to the artist to record an album. The artist then records the album. Suppose that the album sells 500,000 copies at $10 each, yielding $5 million. The record label then takes their cut out of the $5 million, typically 85% of the total sales, leaving the artist with $750,000. But before the artist receives any payments, the label first deducts the advance. In addition, the record label recoups other costs such as recording costs, half the promotion costs, half the video costs, and tour support. This leaves the artist $425,000 in debt to the record label. And then this debt gets carried on to the next album, and the next album.
But see, this is the thing, and I'm not trying to diminish anybody's character at all, but sometimes when you're coming up in a profession like this, the people that brought you in, they don't know no more than what you know. So that's part of the problem as well. You got a whole lot of inexperienced people who are just ignorant to how the industry works and how paperwork works. You know what I mean? Like we didn't know back then that we got to get a lawyer to watch this lawyer and this account to look over this accountant's books. You know, like we didn't know. We didn't have that lesson back then.
Wow.
So thing is literally trial and error. And
the music industry, they have a plan, and that plan may not stretch. They're not looking out for you. They're looking out for their business. So we understand that. But in the you're still taking advantage, especially the kids, the young adults. If you don't, they're not going to tell you to go get an attorney. They're not going to explain to you the contract. So you're so excited that this is your shot. You're going to now be in the music industry, in the entertainment industry. And they may put 4 things in front of you and you say, well, you know what, I'll sign these 2 and then I'll have someone look at the other 2. But those other 2 may be binding for the rest of your life. Wow. So this industry they know what they're doing. And it's up to each individual to make sure that you're looking out for your back or you have someone looking out for you.
Say this, I want to say something about the change face thing. I know you asked me about it earlier, but I'm going to try not to use names. I'm trying not to use names, but an experience that I had in the process of mixing the Change of Faces records. I had got a call from my manager, and he was like, because back then we had what is called all-in budgets, and an all-in budget is when the record label pays you the entire budget as long as you deliver the master, right? So it's not like inventories or itineraries or any of that thing, right? So they would pay you the entire budget. So I was paid the entire budget. Whatever's left out of that budget, that's what I pocket, right? So during the end of the process of doing those 2 records, the manager calls me and says, all right, you need to send the masters to New York because they're going to mix the whole record up here. And I was like, I want to mix this record. I want my people to mix this record. And he was just adamant. Listen, man, you got to send the reels up here. And he just called me every day. I'm like, man, I'm going to fight this one. Because again, it was always a fight. You know what I mean? So eventually he's like, man, look, R. Kelly is sending his records up here. R. Kelly got his people mixing, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, we need you to send the reels up to New York. All right. Went on, gave in. Send the reels up there. I said, well, let me know when my song is on the board. I said, can you promise me that? Right? He's like, yeah. I'll call you. Because New York ain't but 3 hours for me. Right? So he ends up calling and say, yeah, it's on the board. So I'm haul ass. I'm driving to New York. I get to the studio, right? There's a track 13 on my reels. So I'm looking at the spread on the board. And I knew that I had put an organ on track 13. It was an organ sound. It wasn't that many tracks. It was like 24 tracks. So, you know, in the console room, we got like 48, 224 reels. And I seen that track 13 was crossed out and my organ was over here on track 25 because we used to run a simply code on 24 to sync everybody up. So my track, the organ is over here on 25. So I asked the guy, there's two white guys. And I asked him, I said, man, why y'all move my organ? Don't worry about it. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, man, these motherfuckers are weird as shit to me. You know what I mean? Like, they look really, really weird. You know what I mean? So I went on with it. They had already had one of the tracks kind of mixed. So I just went in there and did a little tweak here, tweak there, tweak there. But I'm looking at track 13. So the engineer leaves out, the guy leaves out. And it wasn't muted, but I could see the meter bridge about right here. Right? Just a solid green light, the meter bridge. So I hit solo. I didn't hear nothing. I'm like, well, why the meter bridge is coming up? Some sound should be here. I hit solo. I hear nothing. So he comes back in. All right, that's done. I head back to DC. I come back to one of my engineers that was Horizon Studio. This guy named Gary Yost. And he's done Joe to see. He's mixed for everybody. Timberland, a lot of rock bands and so forth. So we meet up today because he's my main engineer. I'm about to cut another record or whatever. And I'm sitting in the booth. I'm sitting in the control room with him. And I said, Gary, you ever heard of this before? So I tell him what I experienced because he was like, how was New York? I was like, weird. He's like, okay, you know what I mean? So we just talking. So I said, bro, have you ever experienced this before? So I give him the whole story. And when I tell you, he was literally just sitting there looking at me, like y'all looking at me right now. Right? He's literally sitting there just looking at me. And I tell him about track 13. And I said, you know, tell him everything. He looked at me and said, you don't know, Reese? I said, nah. He's like, that's where they put the signal at. I'm like, the fuck?
That's where they do what?
He said, that's where they put
the signal.
That's where they put the signal at.
Like subliminal message?
Yeah, like a subliminal signal. He said, that's where they put the signal. I was like, what? He's like, you ain't know? And I trust that he said it because I know he done produced engineer for everybody, including Devontae. You see what I'm saying? He produced engineer for everybody, all rock bands and everything. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, that's where they put the signal at. I was like, shit. Why that record, out of all the records I've done, is gold. And I hated the song. As we was talking about the Change of Faces song, the tracks I did. There's one track I just literally hated. But that record went gold with no problem.
Wow.
See how y'all looking at me right now? Yeah.
Wow.
That's how I was looking, bro. For real.
So Stevie, you understand now what the going to the next level, what it involves and stuff.
I never told you that, Jack.
Yeah.
I thought I told you that before, Jack. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
That's one of the times that I will never ever forget. You know what I mean? Because I'm like I said, I'm looking at the console. I was on the SSL. And I remember saying the green, you know, the meters, it was about that high. I'm like, it gotta be sound on here. And I'm looking at the patch bay. I see the return, the send, everything in the patch bay. And it's all hooked up. There's no bypassing, no nothing on 13. Because I'm looking at the patch bay. And when I hear
what? Maybe that's why.
It was like, what the hell?
You know what, Reese? Maybe that's why a lot of our records had to be mastered at Sony.
At Sony, yeah.
Yep. All of our album, all of our records had to be mastered. at Sony.
I ain't think about that.
And you know, so
something about number 13, Friday the 13th floor.
Yeah, that but the thing is, when I sent my reels to New York, I knew I had an organ. I can look at the track sheet. That's how for certain I was. You know what I mean? Because we had to write things down back then. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at my track sheet. I know I had an organ on 13. You know what I mean? Then when I get there, my organ's all the way over here on 25. But then you got a big old red mark X on track 13 now. What was the point of moving my organ over? Because it wasn't even no more than 20-something tracks. You know what I'm saying?
But the sad thing is you couldn't even trust your manager. You know what I'm saying? It's like
yeah.
We couldn't even trust our management because at the end of the day, management knew stuff that we didn't know. You know, and you did have some management, selling out with their producers or whatever. I mean, Hiram Hicks was mine, so Hiram had me. Well, he got Key Sweat after I was with him, but he had BBD. When I met him, he had New Edition, and then he became the head of Black music at Island, yes. And then he signed Drew Hill.
Same circle though. That's crazy.
Drew Hill and Kelly Price
at that time. That's crazy.
So it's a lot. Like it's a lot. So for the ones that don't believe and they think it's conspiracy, there's no conspiracy to this game. It's either you down or you're not. I chose to walk away, but I also felt, and I can say this now, I also felt that they knew they couldn't get me to go along with nothing. It was gonna be like, nope, not me. I'm not doing it. And I know when they see those people, those artists that are like that, and that are gonna fight back and say, no, we gotta go. Basically, you gotta go. You're not gonna be able to, You're not gonna get all the way to the levels that. No, not at all.
Green Dove. You know what I'm saying? You're just not gonna get there.
Not at all.
You're gonna make a critical choice. You know what I mean? Because the whole thing, I think there's a lot of ego when it comes to this stuff. You know what I mean? It's a lot of pride, a lot of ego, a lot of things of that nature that will make you excel to the level and say, I don't care. You know what I mean? I want to be famous. I want to be this, that, third. When you got a God spirit in you, it don't matter. You can easily say, I'm cool. I made enough. I'm not greedy. I'm satisfied for what I was given in the gifts that I was given. You see what I'm saying? When you get to that place mentally, then you're good. But if you constantly chasing it, you're gonna end up in a weird place in this.
Yeah. I have so many platinum albums, and I have this and that. You don't go nowhere with that. You did a lot with that.
There's a plaque right here. People be looking at me like, man, I don't give a shit about that, man.
I got 5 plaques. I don't have none of them. I got 5 plaques, and I have none of them. No, I don't show them. I don't even have them. I gave them away. Right. It's like that stuff means nothing,
I don't want to set Jacqui off here, but I'm just, the artist SZA, SZA. She just released a deluxe album, and the cover of it. Just let me show you this cover. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, you can't see it. She's semi-naked.
Is it like a beetle?
No, she looks like devil thorns on.
Wow.
On stage?
What they do to her? Because SZA didn't come in like that, right?
When you talk about the devil in a lot of your past interviews, Jacqui, I thought, what you keep on about? And then she turns up looking like a naked devil.
Yeah.
Very scary image. And this is an R&B artist.
They're selling.
That goes back to the fact of the whole gay agenda that was hidden back then. They are more freer with the Satanism today more than ever.
That's right.
It's freely flowed today. It's like the floodgates have been completely let open.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy that she looked crazy like that. That's crazy. I gotta pull it up on my phone. That's crazy.
You go on, yeah.
You start. That's it. You opened up that Pandora's box, that door, and now you let it in. Now, this is what you feed off of. And the one thing I hate about this business is praise. We're never supposed to let anybody praise us. If the bottom line is, if people like you as a singer, producer, musician, whatever, you're supposed to say thank you, for my gifts or whatever. But you notice that when people go to shows, you got the people down here, and then the artists are on the stage. And what is people doing? Raising their hands, and they're clapping, and they're praising you. So right there, you're praising the artist. Now, whatever demonic stuff that they're doing, you just put yourself right into that, whatever they just let out. So you had a Beyonce concert.
Let me ask you this real quick. I'm going to cut you off. Have you ever went in an exec office and noticed that the platform is there and you sitting below?
You know what? You're right. Oh my God.
Have you ever noticed that?
Now that you're saying it,
I'm not going to say this person's name, right? Because again, I'm not going to say this person's name, but I walked into a meeting one time with this particular person high up, and I remember walking in, and this person there was literally a platform where his desk was in his chair. And I remember sitting down, I was like looking up. And see, when you gifted, you see everything. You know what I'm saying? You see everything. And I remember like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? So I'm conversing, but I see this person kind of like on the desk, and he just leaning down, looking at me, talking about a deal. We're talking about a production deal that was worth millions of dollars, which I ended up not taking. You know what I'm saying? Because my spirit seen the whole office. I seen how the platform was there. I seen how I was to be set down low. You know what I mean? And I seen how this person was to be up above me. You know what I'm saying? You never noticed that, Jack?
Well, when I interviewed Nitty from Riff, they spoke about when they were negotiating their follow-up album, and they were brought into the recordings, the label, and he says that they got into this office, and it was almost as if like the executive was sitting at the back on a massive table, and they were way in the corner, so almost like you needed a microphone to talk, and they were lifted up high. Yeah, but it was high up, and he was like, so that overwhelmed them. Like, and they were saying, look, we gave you guys did your Judy's got a boyfriend. You had fun with that. Now we want you to get back in. We're going to put you in the studio with David Foster. We want you to start to do those kind of. And they're like, nah, man, we want to be like Jodeci. And they thought, we're going to go get, forget you guys. We're just going to leave and go get a label deal somewhere else. And they walked out the office, went to Silver Road. She says, yeah, you should have stayed where you are. And that was how Riff got blacklisted, because they turned her back. But he said it was like when you walked into the office for the meeting, it was like, he said the illuminati. It was like...
EMI SBK was setting us up to win. Like, they really had it. They was giving us David Foster to do the whole album. Like,
and you had Boys to Men, the clean cut sort of image, and they were selling millions more than...
They were selling millions. But we wanted to be Jodeci. Like, some of us wanted to be Jodeci, and they wanted to be hard. In the hood, that's what they wanted to be. So we came, I swear to you, this is how it went. We came back. They had switched the office. This is no lie, man. We came in to meet, not even with the people that we know. It was the person that was taking over the label. He was now the vice president of the label of EMI.
Oh yeah.
And it was, I swear, we came in, it was like the Illuminati, man, that I know it today. It was more like he sat all the way across the room. I've never seen an office this big, I swear to you. It was like a mansion. And we walked in, and we were sitting. They had the seats lined up for us. It was 6 seats. It was Riff and the manager, Skip, and we sitting there. He's all the way across the room. Wow. It was like you're there, and we're all the way. I'm talking about all the way.
Wow.
Back here, like like this. And man, he told us. He said, "Listen, straight up." He said, "Listen, if you do this record, I promise you, we're gonna make y'all #1." He said, "If you don't," he said, "then we're gonna let y'all go." So already, the brothers, you know, we were already outvoted because we thinking, you know, we got a little money in our pocket, we can go and get another deal. And Skip told us that day, he said, "Listen, I promise you, it's not gonna be that easy for y'all to get another deal. Because people are not gonna wanna touch you." And it's true. He saw that then. Man, we left SBK, man, we went to Sylvia Rome's, we went to the different record companies, man, and cats was like, "Yo, why did y'all leave SBK? I don't understand why. Why did y'all had a career there? Like, what are you doing here? Like, you can't get your deal back, you need to go." The CEOs wasn't trying to touch us, man. Nobody. Tommy Silverman, nobody wanted to touch Riff, man. They were like, "No." He said, "You guys are so talented. Y'all had it made there. What's wrong with you guys?" And we ended up losing it, man, being blackballed, man. So that's the Riff story. I can't wait to write the book, to do the film. It's coming. We gonna sit down. We gonna figure it out.
I'm not, but the thing is, I'm just not gonna put certain names out there. You feel me? I don't mind talking about it at all because this is my experiences. You know what I mean? I just not gonna put people's names out there, but I've seen that, man, and it was just like, what the hell? I felt like this little. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking up, and then another partner of mine that was A&R at that particular company. He's sitting there, and it's like he was used to it because he's an A&R at this particular label. You see what I'm saying? He was just used to it, like, because he escorted me into it. You know what I mean? Because another phone call, man, you need to come up here real quick. Because somebody, so-and-so this person want to meet you. I ain't gonna say their name. This person want to meet you. You see what I'm saying? When I got there, because I had just recently did a record that was just a bomb record. You know what I mean? And that person took a liking to it, like, who the hell is this kid in DC? You know what I mean? Who the hell is this kid? You know what I mean? So that person called me like, "Yo, I need you to come up here real quick." So when that person escorted me in that office, that person was sitting there like it was normal. But to me, in my energy, my spirit, I was like, I'm looking around. Like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? And I feel this little, but I'm looking up at this person. The person that brought me in kind of talking alongside as to what kind of deal we looking at or what could we do, blah, blah, blah. And then it was like, I give him a couple of weeks, we can structure something out and, you know, send you a rough draft contract and, you know, get up with your lawyers and see if we can put something together. I never signed that contract. I never did it. You know what I mean? That never happened to you, Jack.
I know, because I signed the contract that I got my stupid self in trouble. I got signed by the president of MCA at the time. So,
but I'm saying, did you go into that office though at MCA?
No, I mean I've seen some offices like that, but not that deep. No. No.
It's certain things I would never forget when it comes to this stuff, man. For real. I never wanted my oldest son to be in this business. He was fighting, you know what I mean, early to get in, but you know, some people got this to say, that to say, well, why you ain't helping your son do this and blah, blah, blah. And I was still under that indoctrination of, you know, keep quiet. You know what I'm saying? And you under that indoctrination where you just say, don't say nothing, or be quiet. Even like today, you see me not saying certain names. You see what I'm saying? But that was mainly my primary reason to try to deter my son from getting in this business. My oldest son.
But yes, Stevie, I mean, as I said, Diddy's we think about Diddy and we're hearing about all this stuff. But most people would tell you back, 20 years ago, like,
that's just like R. Kelly. That's like the whole R. Kelly situation. Like, we been hearing the whole R. Kelly all up and down the halls. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't nothing new to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we been knew Kels was doing this. You know what I'm saying? And it was all up and down the hallway and at the labels. Like, ain't nobody do nothing about it. Ain't nobody say about it. But the whole thing with the end of the day, always remember they will give you enough to destroy yourself. Believe that. Because you look at a catalog of work. You know what I mean? Let's take R. Kelly, for instance. You look at his catalog of work. It's worth billions. You know what I mean? So give him enough rope to hang himself in the end. That way we'll be able to have this entire catalog eventually.
That's right.
He's gone away. It's all a power move. It's chess all day. It's a power move. And you look at any famous artist, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, you look at all of them. It's all a power move. Michael Jackson kind of played his thing the way he needed to play it though. But all the rest of them, you know what I mean? It's about that catalog. It's about that record label getting that catalog at the end of the day. So you just they give you all the poisons, all the weapons to destroy yourself. Self-destruction. You know what I mean? But once you see all that, man, it's like, again, are you gonna go to this plateau? Are you gonna go to this level? Or you just gonna be satisfied with what you've done? And that's one of the main things when it comes to me. I was cool. It ain't really mean that much to me. You know what I mean? As long as I did a few things here and there. And the thing is, like my life today, I program now. I'm mainly a computer programmer. You know what I mean? And I love music so much that, you know, everything that I do now is about creating plugins and creating sound plugins for producers. You know what I mean? And for the community itself. So I still endorse myself inside of what my craft is what I love. You know what I mean? Just like me running my studio, me being an engineer and so forth. So it's going to always be in the vein. It's always in your blood. You can't get rid of it. You know what I mean? It's a God-given gift. It's just there. I don't care what you try to do or try not to do. You go get a 9-to-5 job. Even while you working, you're going to be thinking about music and creating music in your head. Even flipping burgers at McDonald's. You know what I mean? It's just going to be there.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
And somewhere in between us,
or even loving us, on which I did miss you.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay, you're okay.
They don't understand what Jonas' voice is winning all spirits.
Play it.
These guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.